to be sitting down with a guy that, at that point in time, you believed had killed two people in cold blood?
There were a lot of moments. I mean, it doesn't leave your mind. I'm sitting here with a guy who, you know, eviscerated two human beings. When we got to the night of the murders, that sort of dreaded chapter, you know, the night in question, you know, he kept trying to remember the hypothetical. He said, well, when I showed up, if I had shown up. And he started talking about a few things that I thought were really interesting. One of the first things he said is, you know, I couldn't have done this alone. I said, okay, let's call this person Charlie. And he says, okay, Charlie's great. So, you know, he and Charlie were in the Bronco. Then he says, I got out of the Bronco and I walked over to the back gate at the property on Bundy where Nicole lived. And he says, and I noticed it was broken. And he got upset again. And he said, you know, I told her so many damn times to have that thing fixed. But, you know, she didn't listen. Once again, he was in abusive ex-husband mode. He walked into the courtyard and Ron Goldman showed him. And the Akita was already in the courtyard. And OJ said to me, the Akita wagged its tail. And what it told him was that the dog knew Ron Goldman. Then he told me that Charlie walked into the courtyard. And Ron Goldman got into some kind of combat stance. And as he put it, you know, this karate. And OJ apparently snatched the knife out of this imaginary character's hand, this Charlie. And then he went into, I guess what you'd call a fugue state. At this point, it was just too intense. He didn't want to remember, or he said he couldn't remember. So I said, what are you telling me, you blacked out? And he said, yeah, that's probably what happened. And when he came out of this imaginary fugue state, he was basically standing in a river of blood.
But do you believe any truth to the Charlie scenario, that maybe at some point, even if it was just admitting, somebody came into his timeline that night and maybe incited him to go to Bundy? Do you believe there's any truth to that
No, I
whatsoever?
don't believe there's any truth to it, and I don't believe there's any evidence.
But was there anything that you knew to be an overt lie that was in that book? As he was telling it to you?
No, there wasn't. Actually, there wasn't.
You're not aware of any actual lies other than your belief that there was no Charlie.
Right.
Yeah.
But that was my interpretation.
Right.
You know, there could have well been a Charlie.
With any case, whenever you have something that may contribute to finding out the truth, you follow up on it. It's a lead. It may not be a good lead, but you follow up on it until it becomes dead, and that's what we got to do in this case.